Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Doing well, because it's October and it's coming up on the Halloween time. That's right. I love that time. It's exciting. I don't know. One of the traditions I like doing is watching Halloween movies. Does anyone else watch Halloween movies during this time? Yeah. So let's see. Watch like Hocus Pocus, Nightmare Before Christmas. Coraline, I don't know if that's technically a Halloween, but it just feels Halloween-y. The Addams Family. What was it? Maleficent. Okay, I'll have to catch that one. Is it out now? Mistress of Evil, the second one. First one was good. Second one looks also very good, yes. Ghostbusters, yes. Ghostbusters 2. Corpse Bride. Oh, actually, I gotta go watch that one. I forgot about that one. Okay. Yes. Yes, Snoopy and the Great Pumpkin. That's right, I gotta watch that. I have that one on Blu-ray, so I can watch that one. Okay, yeah, so we have all these wonderful movies that we can watch this time of year, and no one said it, but one of my favorites is also Coco. Yeah. Which, it isn't Halloween, it's Dia de los Muertos, which is also at the end of the month, so it's October 31st to November 2nd, so that's the kind of that time. So how many of you have seen Coco? Okay, how many of you have not seen Coco? Okay, from the people who have not seen it, who is planning on seeing it? Okay, maybe some light spoilers. But this movie is about a young boy who learns about his family through this adventure of going to the land of the dead. So in the Mexican culture, there's this idea that after you pass away, you go to this land of the dead, and then people remember you. So they put you on their ofrenda, they have like a family altar, and then during this time, Dia de los Muertos, the people from the land of the dead are able to come back to the land of the living. And so the people who are alive still, they decorate the grave, they clean kind of like, our Obon tradition, they leave out, little food, maybe some toys, something that they liked, maybe a little bit of, cerveza or tequila or something, but they have some fun things for them. And so they remember them and they tell stories about them. Now, one of the sad parts in the movie is when we learn what happens to people who are forgotten, when there's no one left to remember them. So I won't say what happens, but suffice it to say that because it is a Disney Pixar movie, we get introduced to his character for like 2 seconds, and I was like bawling when it happened. So this kind of idea where like, in the beginning, if anyone's seen Up, the first 10 minutes of it are very sad. So this kind of idea where, oh yeah, another spoiler if you didn't see that one. You should be prepared though, because if you go into a movie not knowing that that's gonna happen, it is devastating. Anyway, so let's see, there's a ton of fun music in Coco, and so there's that one part that happens which is really sad, but I liked the song, I thought it was really funny, so I decided to sing it for you all. If you know the words, you can sing it along. Oh, no. God, it's been kind of a while since I played up here, huh? Okay. Well, everyone knows Juanita. Her eyes each a different color. Her teeth stick out and her chin goes in. And her knuckles, they drag on the floor. And then the guy goes, "Those aren't the words." And he goes, "There's children present." So we actually never know what the actual words are, but I have a guess. Anyway. Her hair is like a briar, stands in a bow-legged stance. And if I weren't so ugly, she'd possibly give me a chance. You didn't have to clap. I learned that song this morning. So I know that, oh, thank you. Encore? So I know everyone's favorite part of a joke or a humorous story is when you explain why it's funny. That was a joke. Because no one likes it when you explain a joke why it's funny. Anyway, so this song, to recap it, it goes, well, everyone knows Juanita. Her eyes, each a different color. Her teeth stick out, her chin goes in, and her knuckles, they drag on the floor. Her hair is like a briar. She stands in a bow-legged stance. And if I weren't so ugly, she'd possibly give me a chance. So the humorous part of this song is that supposedly he's describing someone who is traditionally very unattractive, right? If you have someone who's like, eyes look kind of different, and their teeth stick out, and their chin goes in, their knuckles are on the floor, although my arms are pretty long. But this idea that someone doesn't look really good, but even though they seem so unattractive, the last line is, if I weren't so ugly, she'd possibly give me the chance. So the funniest part of the song is kind of this flip, where it's like, oh, we think he's going to say something mean, but actually he's making fun of himself because he's so ugly that she's very attractive compared to him. So that's like the humor in the story, now that I've ruined it for you. And it reminded me of a saying that Shinran Shonin, the founder of our school of Buddhism, said. So this is taken from the Tanisho. So the Tanisho, the translation is a record and lament of divergences. So a little bit of history. Shinran, after he passed away, there was a lot of discussion and even arguments about what he taught between his followers. And so to hopefully set the record straight, one of his followers, Yuembo, wrote this collection. So it was a bunch of things that he remembered that Shinran said, and then tried to explain what they meant so that people would understand better what his teachings were. So here's what Shinran said. He said, even a good person attains birth in the Pure Land, so it goes without saying that an evil person will. Or I'll say it again. Even a good person attains birth in the Pure Land, so it goes without saying that an evil person will. So this might be a little bit backwards than what we're thinking, right? You'd think it'd be like even an evil person, so of course a good person would get it, right? This kind of idea with the grammar. But he goes on to explain why this is so. It's through this intention of the primal vow that he does it. But to put it kind of in a way that I think is more understandable, when all of us think of ourselves as good, that's when we really kind of miss the point. We are so caught up in our own ego, our own blind passions, that we think that we're these amazing people, when in fact, we're really not. There's this study that was done. I don't know if I told this story before, but there was a study that was done where people were given a test, and then they were asked afterwards how they thought they did on the test. So it was really interesting because the results were, if someone thought that they did really good on the test, they actually did pretty poorly on the test. But afterwards, if someone thought that they didn't do so well, then they actually scored much higher. So there's this weird phenomenon that happens where if we think very highly of ourselves, we often have these really big blind spots. But if we're aware of kind of our limited nature, then we're able to recognize it and hopefully overcome it. This this song that I sang was kind of like this idea where that he recognizes himself as being so ugly. And that way, he's grateful for the people around him. But I don't want to make this sound like I think that all of you are ugly. That's not what I'm saying. Rather that all of us have this vision of who we are, and it's important for us to at least be aware of it. Because if we're aware of it, then we can start to chip away bit by bit and realize who we truly are. And it's not so much a physical thing that we have to work on, although I don't know how many people are like looking at themselves in the mirror and being like, wow, I look so fantastic today. Which we really should, because you're all so beautiful. But when we look at ourselves and how good we think we are, to recognize, you know what, maybe I'm missing a little bit. And it's hard because we don't know what we don't know. I missed everyone this past weekend because I was in Minnesota. I was speaking at the Eastern Conference, and I was lucky enough that they had me. So they showed me, their theme for the conference was the social awareness, and they were able to invite everyone to volunteer for this organization that sent food to children that were unable to eat. So it made me really sad because they were saying how these children, they would go to school and they were so hungry that they couldn't pay attention, that they couldn't learn anything, that it was hard for them to accomplish anything. So this idea that children would be so hungry that they couldn't even learn in school was just, I don't know, heartbreaking. So in realizing that, I realized how much I didn't know about the world, and then of course, how much I didn't know about myself. When we recognize our limited view, how much we don't know, we can start to understand, and it becomes our responsibility to start learning about those things. So I hope everyone throughout the rest of this year, throughout the rest of your lives, has this kind of spirit of recognizing that we're all limited beings. At the same time, we're all the recipient of infinite wisdom and compassion, and because of that, we're able to have such a wonderful life. However, the people around us may not be so fortunate, and so it becomes our responsibility to first learn about them and then do something about it. In doing so, we live within the Buddha's compassionate vow, which is this great compassion of hoping that all beings, all sentient beings, are able to live in happiness. If you could please join me in Gassho. And if I weren't so ugly, she'd possibly give me a chance. Nam Myoho Butsu. Nam Myoho Butsu. Nam Myoho Butsu. Nam Myoho Butsu.